Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. And it is a very sad reflection on how bad colleges and universities and that are in Scotland when the SNP's own sort of college Tsar, the guy responsible for education, for making sure there's access to it, for making sure the quality is high enough, says that the SNP is failing Scottish students. This is their own man. This is their own appointee is saying that they're failing. That's not right. I get it if it was independent. But when their own people are saying it's failing, you know it's got to be bad. So we'll take a look at this to see why going to university in Scotland, first of all, it may be cheap, but only if you're one of the very lucky few who can get the place. And secondly, it may not even be a good education after all. It's very weird, isn't it? It's a very weird situation where one of the world's best education establishments is failing so badly. It's not even funny. Let's have a look at how bad it is getting at universities now in Scotland. Here goes. So, Scottish Government's own college Tsar savages the SNP targets amid accusation it is failing students. Is anyone surprised that the SNP are failing students? I mean, really, they fail at everything else, why not? Professor John McKendrick of Glasgow Caledonian University was appointed Scotland's Commissioner to Fair Access of Higher Education a year ago, but was withering in his assessment of the Scottish Government's progress so far. This is why the SNP hate getting experts in. They can't control them. So this guy is an absolute expert. He's a professor. He deals with this. And of course, he's then gone in, looked at it and said, this is appallingly bad. And the SNP are going, oh, we knew we shouldn't have got an expert in. No, that's why they never get experts. That's why they hate experts. Experts call it out. Experts call it as it is. They don't spin. They don't lie. They don't try and hide the truth. They tell you the truth, and the chances are they'll tell you how to fix it. But of course the SNP won't fix it because it will involve going against their own policies. The expert hired by the Scottish Government to help ministers hit targets to get more deprived students into university and college has savaged the current process and claims things are really going to have to change for the targets to be hit, with brutal cuts which are about to hit the sector. Education, of course, has been cut as well because Shona Robinson has spent the money elsewhere. She can't afford education. She can't afford anything. Also, of course, really deep down, they don't want education. Stupid population don't ask questions. Anyway, Professor John McKendrick was appointed as Scotland's Commissioner for Fair Access to Higher Education a year ago, and he's put out a damning assessment of the progress made so far. Very little, if probably gone backwards, if anything. That wouldn't surprise me. He highlighted the SNP executive was not on track to meet targets. It's the same with everything, though. Nothing they do where they've set themselves targets are on track to meet them. Nothing. They are literally a party of failures and losers, aren't they? He aired his fears that cuts to funding for colleges would deny some poorer students the springboard they need to get to university. Colleges are facing cuts of 4.7% in 2024-25, a real terms reduction of 8%. This is according to Spending Watchdog Audit Scotland, and this comes after an 8.5% real terms cut from 21 to 23. So over the course of 4 years, there'll be a 8.5 plus the 8, but getting on for 20% in real terms cut in funding. I mean, this is just stunningly bad, isn't it? The SNP executive still wants students from the 20% most deprived areas to represent 20% of entrance to higher education by 2030. Well, you can want it, but unless you put the moolah up, it ain't going to happen, is it? Education Secretary and serial failure Jenny Gilruth has recommitted. Again, we can recommit. You can commit and you can recommit to an interim target of 18%. But committing to something isn't the same as doing. And doing costs. Perhaps close a few of those pretendy embassies. Perhaps tell Angus to keep his arse in his desk, in his chair in his desk in his office, rather than keep swanning around the world. Save the money, put more people into college and university, can't you? It's not hard. Professor McKendrick of Glasgow Caledonian University acknowledged the effort to maintain the number of students from the poorest areas of Scotland to enter higher education, but highlighted that colleges need to be there to help as a gateway to university. Yeah, I mean, for some, they come out of school and they're barely literate, barely numerate, and if they want to go to university, they need a good comprehensive education, which is something they're not getting. They're not getting. I don't mean comprehensive as in comprehensive school. I mean comprehensive, literally small c. They need a good all-round knowledge, which they're not getting, because the teaching, the education in Scotland is falling so badly. When you're getting 40 and so in a 40 kids in a classroom, all disruptive, nobody can learn. Anyway, he told BBC Scotland there is a risk of courses being withdrawn, and there's obviously some courses that already have been withdrawn. Notice has been given of that. So there's even less range of opportunity for people in the area. I think we all understand the importance of a college education. Anything that lifts you to the point where you're able to do the degree. Then it's up to you to do the degree, of course, but you need that stepping stone up. He said it provides opportunities to young people and adults, returning adults as well, that might not otherwise have the opportunity to realise their potential. Scottish Conservative Shadow Education Secretary Liam Kerr claimed that Professor McKendrick's comments were a damning verdict on the SNP's handling of the sector. But we don't need professors telling us that. We don't need Liam Kerr telling us that. We know. We see. We listen. We're not stupid. We can see how bad it's got. And you just have to look at the PISA tables to see how awful it is. And when your schools are failing, your colleges fail. When your colleges fail, your universities fail. The other half, of course, is that Scottish universities are ultimately massively dependent on foreign and particularly Chinese students. So much so that they are basically not taking on as many Scots because they can't afford to. They literally cannot afford to take them on. Because SNP, geniuses, let's have free education. Anyway, the damning verdict, he said, from an individual the SNP government appointed confirms that they are miles away from meeting crucial targets. Savage cuts to our colleges only deny potential life-changing opportunities for many students. And typically, this is under the SNP government, Green government. It is those living in rural Scotland who suffer the most. And he is absolutely right. And then there's some guff coming back from the government, which is pointless because we know it's all going to be spin, lies and horseshit. So I'm not even going to bother with it. But that man there, appointed by the SNP to say, sort out our problems. Okay, he said, your problems are terrible. Here's how you sort them out. And they've gone, no, because they don't want to hear it. They had to appoint an expert because no one else could do it. And then the expert has spoken. Oh, dearie me. Woe is Jenny Gilruth. Coming up. And this is what happens. They bring an expert in so it looks like they're doing something. They expect the expert to say, oh, well, just change that. You can get away with doing that. That's fine. And you'll fix it. But then the expert says, no, actually, you need to destroy it and start again from scratch, from the ground up. It's so awful that not a single aspect of it works. And so you need to get rid of this, and this. Keep that, but only until you can do that and then get rid of that. And basically from the ground up, rebuild. How much is it going to cost? Oh, lots. And then they go, but we can't afford it. Well, you can afford all that other shit, can't you? You can afford all those shiny brochures. Meanwhile, the children of Scotland don't get an education. Scotland suffers globally because it hasn't got the skills and the knowledge. And everything reverts back to the level of shit you expect in a third world state. I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Do please hit the subscribe button, ring the bell, leave a like, leave a comment. Please share the video. Till next time, stay safe, stay well, get educated, and I will speak to you later. Bye.